Good morning. It's good to be back here today. I have missed you all so much, I can't begin to tell you. Many a morning over in my new stressful job when I was saying, I wish I was at Bremerton right now where it's calm and relaxed. So, go ahead, Mark. Because I have been away for a while, and I know at least Cindy likes it when I bring this song. We'll open today with this call and response thing, which means I sing something, then you sing the echoes in the parentheses, and then we have a middle bridge where we all just kind of have to talk real fast for a while. But you guys have sung this at least 8 times now, so feel free to dance in your seats or get up on your feet as you choose. It's really up to you. Almost there. All right, here we go. I am very grateful for the life that I have. I am fully nourished by the life that I have. I am very grateful for the love that I give. I am fully nourished by the love I receive. Together, I'm happy, healthy, and whole. You're happy, healthy, and whole. We're all happy, healthy, and whole, and all connected in spirit. God loves us just as we are, adores us just as we are. We all are worthy and loved. Rise up and cheer it. I am very grateful for the friends in my life. I am fully nourished by the friends in my life. I am very grateful for the journey I'm on. I am fully nourished by the journey I am on. Together again. I'm happy, healthy, and whole. You're happy, healthy, and whole. We're all happy, healthy, and whole, and all connected in spirit. God loves us just as we are, adores us just as we are. We all are worthy and loved. Rise up and cheer it. I am very grateful for my whole life experience. I am fully nourished by my whole life experience. I am very grateful to be living in the spirit. I am fully nourished by living in the spirit. I am very grateful to be living in the spirit. I am very fully nourished just to know, everybody together, that I am part of it all. Very good. I was trying to remember to tell you, now we all have to sing together. Good morning, Cindy.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome, David Duval. I've done a real job and everything. We only get them occasionally now. So good morning. Good morning. Nice to see so many lovely faces. I've been gone for a few weeks, just in case you didn't notice. But I'm back.
We noticed.
You noticed?
We noticed.
Thank you. Yeah, something it's hard to ignore. That's okay. It's wonderful to be back, and there's no snow on the ground. Because when I left there was, so yay. Sunshine and beautiful weather, and the trees are budding, and the flowers are blooming, and yay. Yes, it's a beautiful, beautiful time to be in the Pacific Northwest, so I'm very glad to be home. So, Sunday mornings don't happen by accident. Thank you, those of you that came here to help us set up. It's a wonderful thing when we come together as a group. Today, our speaker, we're going to be watching Reverend Jean Marie Eck from Unity of Houston talk about the power of strength, one of our 12 in our 12 Powers series. So that should be Good. And of course, our musician, David Duvall. Yay! Chaplain today will be Debbie. Hospitality is Mary Ellen and Laura. And Spick and Span Angels is all of us. So if you can help out afterwards to clean up and put everything away, we'd appreciate it. So let's just go on right now to our heart song.
This is another one that I know we've done several times, so you should be able to get along with me pretty good. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. Love is my source, love is my power, love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, love gives me everything I need. Joy is my source, joy is my power, joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, joy gives me everything I need. Peace is my source, peace is my power, peace gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, peace is everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
Yay, thank you. All right, do we have any new folks here today? All returnees? That's wonderful. We're going to read the Red Heart Welcome anyway, because this is such a good thing to read. If you're new today at Unity of Bremerton, we welcome you in the spirit of love. We want you to know no matter where you are on your journey of faith, you are always welcomed here. We know that the world is a better place when we are willing to share our hearts. We give you this heart as a symbol of the steadfast spirit that lives within each of us, and we ask you to carry the symbol as a member of this Red Heart Fellowship. Let it be a reminder that the love of God is always with you and to share your heart wherever you go. The Red Heart, as a symbol of fellowship in the world, can spread love one heart at a time. Let's start the movement here. All right, and for those watching, keep tuning in because you never know what we might be up to. We have a variety of speakers. So, yeah. All righty, so let's see, Unity happenings. Next Sunday, April 7th, we've got Michael Bolgar coming back. Yay! And Sally and Jamie are back singing for us. Yay! April 14th, Reverend Joanna Gabriel. Yay! And April 21st is Easter Sunday. So, yes, already a full month, and spring has sprung. We have Course in Miracles Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. So if you're interested or familiar, please join them. It's a great group, and they do all kinds of things. In fact, one of their members, Mr. James Dunn, has written a book called A Tree by the River, which I had the pleasure of reading while I was gone. It's a wonderful book. It's available on Amazon. Please check it out. James Dunn, A Tree by the River. Wonderful story. Thank you. All right, and what do we got going next? Let's see. I'm out of practice. Ah, there we go. The lighting of the Christ candle. All right. This represents the divine light within each of us. All right, and let's read this together. We are
a welcoming community supporting our mutual quest for spiritual truth.
And our invocation statement of faith.
There is one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotence.
And it's time for handshakes and hugs. Hug gently, hug quickly. We got a lot of stuff to get done here this morning.
Good, thank you. I did.
Mic is not on. There we go. Everybody was blocking my view to Mark. Okay. Here we go. 1, 2. Everything that I need to know about what lies before me. Everything that I need to know about what lies before me is available to me. Is available to me. Through the mind of God within me. Everything that I need to do about what lies before me. Everything that I need to do about what lies before me is available to me. Is available to me. Through the mind of God within me. Everything that I need to release about what lies before me. Everything that I need to release about what lies before me is available to me. It's available to me through the mind of God within me. The next one is accept. Everything that I need to accept about what lies before me. Everything that I need to accept about what lies before me is available to me. Is available to me through the mind of God within me. Now we're back to know. Everything that I need to know about what lies before me. Everything that I need to know about what lies before me is available to me. Is available to me through the mind of God within me. Through the mind of God within me. Through the mind of God within me. Nicely sung. I complimented them, but my mic went away.
Today's daily word is rest. I do the work that is mine to do, and then I rest in faith. The Sabbath is not simply a regular day of the week, Charles Fillmore writes. The Sabbath is kept any time we enter into spiritual consciousness and rest from thoughts of temporal things. Then we let go of the external observation of days, because every day is a Sabbath on which we retire into spirit and worship God. I honor the Sabbath by ensuring that I set aside regular time in the flow of my life to rest in the presence of the divine. It's an essential part of the creative process. I do the work that is mine to do, and then I rest in faith, allowing the Lord of my being to complete the process within me. From Mark 2, verses 27 and 28. Then he said to them, the Sabbath was made for humankind, and not humankind for the Sabbath. So the Son of Man is Lord even on the Sabbath. Today I do the work that is mine to do, and then I rest in faith. God bless us.
It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by. It's in every one of us, hopefully it's kind, to be kind. Find your heart and open up your mind. We can all do anything without ever knowing how. It's in every one of us, here and now. My glasses don't let me see the screen because I'm so nearsighted. So clearly I was singing the second verse and you only had the first verse up there. Is that right? Yeah, okay. Well, so we're going to think we've sung the first verse twice and say, yay, we're done. Unless you want to sing that one more time.
One more.
One more? Okay, then put it back. It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by. It's in every one of us, by and by. Very good. Nicely done. The spring flowers also give me this lovely little collection of bodily fluid that wants to drain down the back of my sinuses and live on my vocal cords. Anybody else enjoying that this season as well? As the pollen count remains really high. So, I'm doing my best. Okay, please. Every life has its chapters. There's an end to each day. Each brand new adventure must flow its own way. When your life changes course and you have to live come what may, you'll find that it's true what they say. Tomorrow is another day. Just a little. In each situation comes a time to move on, to step into the darkness, to miss what's now gone. When your road becomes cloudy, or you've come to know you can't stay, you'll find that it's true what they say. Tomorrow is another day. Life stays a mystery, with what lies ahead a constant unknown. We can try to plan what our journey will be, but the future can never be known. The coming attraction's real, it's just never shown. Sometimes I miss that. Would you like the coming attractions real from time to time? As each one of us moves from one chapter to the next, or whenever we pause, feeling lost or perplexed, Remember the love we take with us on our way, the love we collected in earlier days, the love that allows us the wisdom to say tomorrow is another day. Just look at how all of these lives intertwine, even when some of the threads start to fray. How they will weave back together will become clear in time, but in uncertain moments, let this thought make way. Tomorrow will always be, forever and ever be, another day.
All right, so today we're going to enjoy Reverend Jean Marie Eck. She's with Unity of Houston and on the Power of Strength.
Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you.
I just want to share, tonight I'm talking about the power of strength, the divine power of strength, and your music. It just so opened my heart, and I thought about Make Me Stronger, and I can't get off of my mind and heart the situation at our border and the children being separated from their families. And I just want us all to just join together now and hold that prayer of affirming strength for those not so far from where we are now. Knowing strength for our leaders and making wise decisions and finding resolution and these children being reunited with their families. And just feeling gratitude for this unfolding in right and perfect ways. Thank you, God. And so I didn't think that I could think about that anymore. I had to get my mind off of that to focus on the, thank you for joining me in that, us joining together in that powerful prayer energy. I needed to think about something else, and so I turned my attention to nature. When I want to get grounded in strength, I look at, I just pull my strength from the earth and from nature. So coming over here today, I couldn't get a spot over here in this lot, and I drove around and to the other side of the pyramid. I got to really look at just all the beautiful trees that we have on campus here. Aren't they amazing? I was asking Michael about them. He said we have some oak trees that are like 40 or 50 years old by the nursery, and just how they symbolize for us our own divine power of strength. And so in thinking about trees, I dressed like a tree tonight to remind you of your own strength within, and the strength to endure even the most difficult hardships like the one that we were holding in prayer tonight. And so I thought I'd start with a few fun tree jokes, if that's okay. So, how do trees access the internet? They log on. Why do trees make the worst frenemies? Because they're the best at throwing shade. Thank you for those who got that one. What did the tree do when its bank closed? It started a new branch. Oh my God. Okay. Why did the pine tree get in trouble? because it was too knotty. And then finally, do you want a brief explanation of an acorn? In a nutshell, it's an oak tree. So that's my tree jokes. Thinking about trees, I thought about what's just the greatest example of just this mighty tree. And I found out about this oak tree that is 1,000, maybe it could be like 2,000 years old. It's called the Big Tree, and it's over on the coast at Goose Island State Park, just north of Rockport. And it was hit by Hurricane Harvey, must have been hit by many, many hurricanes over the years. And during Harvey, it was hit by 108 mile-per-hour winds, more than 40 inches of rain, and this big tree has sustained. It has a diameter of 11 feet and a circumference of more than 35 feet. So that's the kind of spiritual strength, that's the image that I have. When I think of our spiritual strength, it's not like, you know, a little twig hanging out like the Charlie Brown Christmas tree. We're talking about this big, mighty tree that lasts and endures through time. That's the kind of spiritual strength that we have within us and that we can access. In Unity, we define strength as the ability to endure, to stay the course, to last, to persevere, to be persistent, and to be stable. And how many things do we go through life that they don't happen right away? They take time to work on, to grow, to develop, to unfold. One of my previous careers to ministry was as a performer, as an actor. And I would take these auditions, workshops, because we needed like some support to keep going sometimes, because you'd get a lot of jobs. Sometimes it'd be like, oh, you know, should I still do this? And one of the workshop leaders said that most actors quit one audition before their big break. One audition before their big break. So I think about strength and persevering, and that how often do we quit maybe right before we move into that next greatness or achievement or whatever it is that we're seeking, and just noticing, are you quitting before your big break, your next big role? Moving forward. And so I'm going to share with you tonight 3 aspects of strength. The first one being stability, and I want to talk about some different trees now that really exhibit strength. And now I'm going to share with you about palm trees. And palm trees, I don't know, you realize how strong the palm tree is. You think about the big oak and the palm trees kind of, you know, this is what makes it great, the palm tree. Okay, they are perfectly designed to weather the storm. They're out on the coast, and just think of divine intelligence in that in 3 ways. And so the first way is they have what are called rambling roots. They have really a lot of roots, and they're really wide, so it gives them a real stable base. So what does that mean for us spiritually as far as stability and keeping a really stable base? Well, we could just think of ourselves as being stable in our own inner strength, our own ability to get things done, to press on, to work through it, you know. And that's just kind of like one shallow root, right? Spiritually, we want to have a real wide root base. And so we do that first, definitely through meditation, through connecting in the stillness, through rooting ourselves in spirit. We call upon that strength that is greater than our own personal egoic or personality-based strength, that divine strength and power. And so it is that strength in stillness and in silence, as well as I want to have a really strong base. And so reaching out in connection with others in spirit, in prayer with a unity friend, with calling Silent Unity. I called Silent Unity today when I was preparing for this talk, and it's just another way to just really connect, be centered, get grounded. I want to have a wide root. So think about how you can broaden your roots to have a strong anchor in spirit. That is what these roots are these roots are called in the palm tree, that they're just a large, heavy anchor that keeps it in place. So strength has to be replenished. We can drain ourselves, right, of strength, especially when we try to power through things and not connecting with spirit, when we're relying on the personal will, when we believe that we have to figure it all out by ourselves, and we can get into this sense of separation from God, that outer appearances and conditions are the limitation of what is. We can survive that way, but we don't really thrive. We don't really grow spiritually until we tap into those deep roots of spirit. Scripture says in Isaiah 40:31, "Those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not be faint." That rising up with wings like eagles. We're talking about, and Reverend Howard used to have all these eagles in his office, and we've inherited some of them. And I think about why did he love eagles? And it had to be, as I was reading, working on this, just that symbol of spiritual strength, you know, that groundedness, and what eagles represent as they soar in the strength of spirit. Jesus said, "Don't worry." Okay, he had a whole talk about not worrying in the Gospel of Matthew. And he said, "Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will bring worries of its own. Today's trouble is enough for today." Isn't it? Isn't it? Today is enough for today. And so spiritual strength, this divine power of strength, is the strength for today. For today, because I think that when we get depleted of strength is really when we start thinking, well, will I have strength for that and that in the future and that coming up and that, and it just kind of depletes our energy. Knowing I'm grounded, I'm centered in enough strength to do what is mine to do today, to face what is ahead of me. And meditation is our spiritual tool to bring us into that present moment realization, realizing what we need for today. Jesus said in the Gospel of Luke, "When a strong man, fully armed, guards his castle, his property is safe. But when one stronger than he attacks him and overpowers him, he takes away his armor in which he trusted and divides his plunder." So there's just a lot of fighting and violence in the Bible. Violent images. And I'm reading this and I'm going, okay, so the strong man fights a stronger man who takes away his armor and divides his good stuff. And so, but when we look at it metaphysically, we look at the spiritual significance of it, it has a deep and rich personal metaphysical unfolding. And Charles Fillmore uses this scripture as the passage to open his chapter on the power of strength in his book, The 12 Powers. And this passage is included in 3 of the Gospels, so it has this deep spiritual significance. The strong man being overcome by the stronger one. And that when we tap into spiritual strength, the strong man, what he calls the Adam man, or our human nature, personality, ego, all that, become overcome by our divine nature, the Christ nature within. And so it's really a beautiful, transformative process, and not violent at all. Kind of quite enlightening and love-filled. So that passage brought me to thinking about another story about fighting in the Bible that appears in the first book of Samuel, of David and Goliath. You know the story of David and Goliath. And that the scripture keeps repeating these kind of stories where there is this kind of brute force that gets overcome by love, by tenderness, kindness, that kind of thing. And so there was David, who was this shepherd boy, and he played the lyre. He played this harp. He just tended sheep. He was a handsome young man, and he was the youngest brother, and his 3 brothers were off in the Israelite army fighting, or being prepared to fight, really, and for 40 days with the Philistines, who every day, this big man who was a giant, who was 10 feet tall. They said 6 cubits and a span was what the scripture says about Goliath. And that he would come out every day and taunt. He was from the Philistines, and he would taunt the Israelites. Now, the Philistines and the Israelites, metaphysically, the Philistines are like our negative thoughts, and the Israelites are our higher spiritual thoughts. Think about the Goliath in your thoughts, okay? What's that big old thought that grabs a hold of you, right? That won't let you go, that comes out like a 10-foot man and says, who do you think you are to want to live that kind of life, to live that dream, to be with that person, or to do that, or to, and it's just taunting you, it's getting a hold of you. And the Israelites, 40 days, they're like, nope, none of us are going to go up against him. Anybody? No, you, no. None of them want to fight this guy. He's like, I'll just be the one. You don't have to fight the whole army, just fight me. And then when you lose, you will be, all the Israelites will be servants to the Philistines. And just think about how many times have your spiritual thoughts kind of lost to those negative thoughts. That's just what happens when we release our power to circumstances outside of ourselves. And here comes David, this young guy who, he's like, okay, I'll go up against him. And so Saul says, well, you have to wear armor. You can't just go out there like a shepherd, with your harp. And so he tries to put his armor on him, Saul's armor. He tries to put it on. He's like, I can't wear it. This is not mine. This is not mine. I got to be myself. I got to go out there and be myself. And he showed that stability, that strength in spirit. And he went out there and he just had his slingshot and 5 smooth stones. And so Goliath continued to taunt him. It's like, what, this little guy with the stick? Here's who you send after 40 days. You said it starts making fun of him. And David, in his spiritual guidance, he knew this big, tall brute of a man who had an armor and a javelin and like a spear and armor and shield. And he was just ready to fight, that he just took that sling and hit him in the center of the forehead, and Goliath goes down. That big, honking, scary thought with one spiritual thought of truth, sending it down, and then more violence in the Bible. David goes, and once he's down, and he cuts off his head, and that's symbolizing the intellect, the head symbolizing the intellect, all that crazy cycles of thinking, and just being stable and strong in spirit, and the Israelites, win. They win. So David had stability, he had roots, and faith and strength work together. Karen spoke about faith a couple of weeks ago, the ability to perceive and believe that from the invisible is coming into form without seeing it. That faith partnered up with strength, always partnered together with strength. These powers don't work individually. We're going to talk about them one at a time, but they work in harmony together. And so strength, the world says, don't just stand there, do something, right? Get going, get busy, get active, Spirit says, don't just do something, stand there. That's how I think of David. Like he's like, I'm going to stand here in my truth. And the guidance led him to something quick and easy, and solve the problem. And that's what our spiritual strength, seeing problems solved quick and easy in right and perfect ways. Psalms 62:6 said, God alone is my rock and my salvation, my fortress. I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. Faith is represented by Peter in the Bible, and Andrew is his brother, and Andrew is strength. And so it's kind of cool to think of them as brothers, knowing that they do work together, and you want those brothers to be united because they're linked. So the second part of the second tree, the second aspect of strength and tree analogy is flexibility. That the palm trees, what's cool about a palm tree is that they have this wiry trunk. So unlike the oak tree that has this wide canopy, and if it has heavy storms, could possibly be kind of lifted up and dumped over, that the palm tree, it's set up to be near these heavy winds, and it has the inside of its trunk is like, you know, the cables in a, I'm sure, it's like the bundles of wire inside a telephone cable. That's how the scientific description of it, that there are bundles of woody material in there, and they can bend 40 to 50 degrees over. And so we want to be that flexible and also know that there is a breaking point. So what are your boundaries? That we can be so flexible that we're not serving ourselves. So wanting that flexibility in the power of strength and also knowing your boundaries. So it's like the bodybuilders who are muscle bound, you know. They have a lot of physical strength but no flexibility, right? You're not going to see them doing yoga. they're limited physically. And speaking of yoga, the location, each of these powers have a body location. The location of strength is at the small of the back. And so that is where Charles Fillmore intuited that strength resides in what was called the loins, the back, the small, the back, you know, on the sides and in the back. And that in yoga, they say that the flexibility of your spine is indicative of your own flexibility, how flexible you are as a person. So if you want to work on being more flexible as a person, you might want to work on moving your spine, getting some movement and energy in there. And the teachings of the Tao, and the Tao Te Ching says, the soft and supple are the companions of life, while the stiff and unyielding are the companions of death. So recognizing when we're being stiff and unyielding and stuck in that, and where can we move some energy and come into compassion, forgiveness, or whatever that is to become more flexible in that situation. So there's strength used in that balanced spiritual way, and there you can overdevelop strength, you can underdevelop strength, and so we want to know where we are. We want to come into some balance on the strengths. Just to give you an idea of overdeveloped strength is being stubborn, unduly forceful, or obsessive compulsive, to use strength to stay the course and hoard stuff, like, or erroneous ideas, holding on to things. It's just an unbalanced way of using strength. Somebody who has overdeveloped strength may be someone who forges ahead on a plan when maybe nobody else is on board with that plan, or maybe it's not the right plan for what's going on in your business or in your family or whatever. And they're just, I'm going to do it because I feel that it's right, and I'll ask forgiveness later. It's that Frank Sinatra, you know, he said, I did it my way. You know that song? It's the I did it my way kind of approach. So we want to bring that back into harmony and balance. Dr. David Hawkins is a wonderful spiritual author, and he has a book called Power versus Force. Anybody familiar with that book? He talks about that there's a difference between that the force, the kind of brute strength that people use to control and have power over others, and true power, spiritual power, and that's a strength that we're talking about here. Relinquishing, letting go of the need to have force over a person to get something, and coming from your own spiritual power. So I recommend that book if you want to learn more about that. The third aspect of strength is tenacity. Persisting, non-anxiously, having stamina, and perseverance. So these palm trees over by the ocean, they got a lot of this stamina and perseverance, right, to go through the storm. And so one thing I learned that was really cool about the palm trees is that rather than having branches out, they just have, you know, the palm fronds, you know, right, the palm fronds. And so when there are really heavy gales of hurricanes, they kind of do this thing. Right? Right? Have you seen palm trees in a storm? They fold their fronds together so that they can persist and persevere in the storm. They don't have any branches. So Just imagine having that kind of stamina in whatever storm that you're persevering through in your life. Just, I'm just going to flip my hair over. I'm going to flip over and I'm going to persevere. I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. Trusting in the pace of life. That's that perseverance, because things don't always come in the timing that you want them to come, maybe. And then some things can come so fast and everything changes. And so, I don't know how much time I have, but this story is super quick and then we'll close. I wanted to share with you the classic Aesop fable of the hare and the tortoise. A hare was making fun of the tortoise one day for being so slow. "Don't you ever get anywhere?" he asked with a mocking laugh. "Yes," replied the tortoise, "and I get there sooner than you think. I'll run you a race and prove it." The hare was much amused at the idea of running a race with a tortoise, but for the fun of the thing he agreed. So the fox, who had consented to act as a judge, marked the distance and started the runners off. The hare was soon far out of sight, and to make the tortoise feel very deeply how ridiculous it was for him to try to race with a hare, he lay down beside the course to take a nap until the tortoise should catch up. The tortoise, meanwhile, kept going slowly but steadily, and after a time passed the place where the hare was sleeping. But the hare slept on very peacefully, and when at last he did wake up, the tortoise was near the goal. The hare now ran his swiftest, but he could not overtake the tortoise in time. The race is not always to the swift. We forget that we're eternal. We've got a lot more time than we think we have to live and achieve and experience all that is on our hearts to do. So keep steady in your pace and know you're on the right timing. When I was looking at the years, there are so many years of Unity training that I've had. I became a licensed teacher and minister before. I was just at the beginning of my training. I talked to my LE teacher, said, I don't know if I can license Unity teacher. I talked to my licensed Unity teacher and said, I don't know. This is a lot of years, a lot of training, and it just seems long, and I don't know, is this really what I want to do? And it's in my heart. He said, well, what else do you have going on? This is a dream in your heart. Do it. And I'm past it. I'm done. I'm, 4 years now, anniversary of being a Unity minister. So it's, you complete it, you get through it, and it can seem like a lot. Keep slow and steady, moving forward on your dreams. So my challenge to you this week in practicing strength is to be a palm tree. Can we be a palm tree this week? Stability, having a strong base in meditation, strong, wide-based meditation in prayer and connecting with your spiritual community. Flexibility, openness, going with the flow, listening to God, listening to life. And 3, tenacity, persevere at your own pace. Bruce Lee said, do not pray for an easy life, pray for the strength to endure a difficult one. We all have challenges, and so we call on that power of divine strength, and it is guiding us in making wise choices for our highest good. And so let's affirm together, God is my strength. I go with the flow of life. I'm at peace. Thank you, Lord. God bless you.
Thank you for watching this message. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.
I'd go to Houston. Been there before. It's a nice place.
You should get a bus and all.
We should.
Get a bus.
Before we plan that, let's remember we'd all be with each other for several days in a row, trapped in a small confined space.
That should be interesting.
It could be a very interesting trip. Okay, my next song is actually not one that I wrote. It's one that I stumbled on about 2 months ago that was written in the 1920s. And I fell in love with it, I just did. And it's going to be part of the show that I think Cindy and Mark are going to come see in April over in Seattle. And it is not one of the naughty songs, it is one of the nice songs. But I have a lot of naughty songs that will be sung on April 13th in Seattle at Capitol Hill, if you want to see the other side of my career. But this particular piece appealed to me because it reminded me that these thoughts that we think of as new thought aren't particularly new. Some of them are hundreds of years old, some of them are hundreds of years old, some of them are centuries old. They just keep getting recirculated. So. It's burning daylight, put out the lamplight. Sorry. I'm taking an in-breath and that's when the phlegm decides to go. I'm going to start again. It's burning daylight, put out the lamplight. Here comes a newborn day. You've got to say goodbye to all your dreaming. The night has passed away. The day is happy. The world is happy. And you can be happy too. The cares of yesterday are all forgotten. Each day brings something new. The sunbeams are dancing and laughing with glee. The leaves on the trees waving howdy to me. Seems like the whole world's a big jubilee. Wake up, children, wake up. Love song of nature caresses your ear. Will tell you that springtime is hovering near. The spirit of gladness is bringing good cheer. Wake up, children, wake up. Each golden hour treated like a treasure rare. Love is in power, and now's the time to get your share. The river is singing, and I'm singing too. The dream clouds are drifting away in the blue. The voice of the morning is calling to you. Wake up, children. Wake up.
Very nice. I'm going to go with that seat and make sure I don't hurt myself.
Cindy, that's what actually, I felt like I had permission to stop and start again and get the phlegm out of my throat first. It's like, all right, I can't, all right.
Yeah. If nothing else, unity is definitely flexible. That's a good thing. All right, so now is the time for our offering. As you are preparing your tithes and love offerings today, think about how blessed you are. And as you are writing your check or giving your gift, send your blessings out.
I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so
All right, and together.
I give willingly, joyfully, and lovingly, knowing that God is the constant source of my supply. I give with graciousness and receive with gratitude.
All right, and our favorite, well, one of our favorite times, good news. Sally did share with me that Jim does have a couple of his books on hand. If you'd be interested in buying them, we do have them here, and I do highly encourage. It's a wonderful book. David did touch on, he does have an event coming up in April that I'll share the brochure with you all. It's in Seattle. It's an evening. It's a Saturday night thing. Could even be a date thing. Maybe we'll get a group together and go on over.
Oh, that would be lovely.
Yeah. Groupie!
The bus ride.
So we'll share more about that. But even Dawn has some good news.
Mind if I sit down?
Yeah.
You want me to sit down or fall down? We've had a really interesting last month and haven't been to church during that time. And for one thing, our puppy, Wicket, died unexpectedly. And that left a real hole in our life. Another puppy came to our attention. We weren't looking to just fill a void. We were just trying to deal with the loss. Anyway, we have another Cocker Spaniel now. It's driving us crazy. It's just a puppy, you know. And Wicket was over 14 years old. Yeah. So anyway, the universe has moved us through this. And,
What's your new puppy's name?
Piper.
Piper. Piper has joined them. Wicked had to go move on, but now we have
to
Piper.
church sometime.
Yes. Yes. Puppy energy is always so much fun. Yeah. That'll keep you on your toes. Judy.
I would just like to thank the people that came to our party. We had a good time and we enjoyed seeing
We
it.
did.
Unfortunately, I was not
You were in San
available.
Diego.
I was in San Diego. I would have loved to come, but just have to have another party.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Anybody else? Any other good news? All right. Well, we're here. We're healthy. There's no snow. I'm thinking it's all good. So yay, thank you. Let's sing our first song.